and widely understood. The emotional intensity of private conversations and interactions throughout the unfolding drama was emphasized by insiders. It was said that Mendeecees' incapacity to reconcile candor and caution reflect the pain, confusion, and desire for explanation that Yandy feels. Reports state that Jasmine maintained a careful quiet while managing her own emotional complexity. Collectively, these elements combined to create a tale that was both personally personal and meticulously studied, engrossing fans in a never-ending loop of speculation and interpretation. The cause of the present crisis was the asserted DNA findings and the purported repercussions. Emotion, public attention, and commentary combined to create a tale that was both sensational and dynamic. Fans created a narrative that extended much beyond the private lives of individuals involved and into the broader discourse of society by analyzing every incident, speculating about motives, and discussing potential outcomes. The story around Yandy, Mendeecees, and Jasmine remained prominent because of the tension between personal reality and public opinion. Every conversation, subtle gesture, and cautious post enhanced the narrative's progress. Regardless of the veracity of the alleged DNA leak, it had sparked a complex series of social, emotional, and interpersonal effects that held people's attention and controlled discussions via all media platforms. As the days turned into weeks, the situation reportedly became more severe, with each conversation between Yandy and Jasmine Mendeecees necessitating a cautious striking a balance between strategy, emotion, and skillful communication. Insiders described mornings as being marked by tense silences, deliberate words, and looks that spoke more than words. Yandy is reportedly still in disbelief about the alleged revelations and is balancing a complex mixture of confusion, betrayal, and the demand for explanation. Mendeecees was reportedly struggling to manage his own stress while balancing the pressures of criticism, public opinion, and the emotional difficulties of managing Yandy's concerns. Fans and followers continued to scrutinize every social media post, subtle comment, and appearance in an attempt to find hidden clues or confirm the alleged DNA findings. In response videos, fan theories, and online debates, viewers started looking for potential significance in timing, gestures, and even clothing choices. Sources claim that the public's curiosity and ongoing speculation only serve to increase the already tense situation's tension and make managing private times even more difficult. Reports state that Jasmine meticulously considered her actions and her role in the unfolding story were crucial. According to reports, her social media activities left fans perplexed about her perspective and emotional condition. Plenty of subtle hints, but scant. In the middle of the rumors, some believed that little gestures or mysterious captions were deliberate efforts to maintain secrecy, while others perceived them as signs of concern. Despite being mostly quiet, sources said that Jasmine's presence added a persistent sense of mystery that affected Mendeecees and Yandy's relationship. Reports state that tensions intensified during a private conversation between Yandy and Mendeecees, when open communication was unavoidable because of the intense emotions. According to reports, Yandy sought clarification by she expressed her displeasure and hurt using calm but impassioned words. "I need to know the truth even if it's hard to hear," she apparently continued. Her voice trembled with resolution and agony. Mendeecees was described as conflicted despite his best attempts to respond truthfully, split between handling the situation's repercussions and voicing his opinion. According to insiders, the discussion's highly charged emotional nature highlighted the difficulty of striking a balance between one's own feelings and the public's ongoing scrutiny. The claimed DNA discoveries reportedly generated a stir among friends and family, regardless of their veracity. Family members were said to take part in discussions, provide advice and assistance, or just observe the shifting emotional landscape. As friendships, purported allegiances, and emotional investments became increasingly obvious, the drama took on even more aspects. Fans and analysts often speculated about the family's responses and potential impacts on Yandy and Mendeecees' decisions, as well as the plot's progression. Tasha K's coverage, which often blended insider knowledge, teasing, and speculation, kept the public's interest. Devotees were reportedly captivated by her narrative, eagerly anticipating updates and closely examining every word, tone, and suggestion. Insiders claim that Tasha K's participation raised the stakes by preserving heightened emotional examination and contact between the drama's central players and the general audience. Despite the public's enthusiasm, insiders said that Mendeecees and Yandy deliberately controlled their private interactions because they recognized the challenges of being continuously monitored. There were reportedly a few significant but brief moments of vulnerability that shed light on the emotional strain that each person was experiencing. Fans often assess the pair's evolving chemistry, honesty, and trustworthiness based on their interpretations of these cases. The ongoing cycle of tension and analysis, created by the interplay of human sentiments, kept the drama moving forward. And despite their emotional tone, sources say these conversations were essential to understanding and managing the situation. After learning about these conversations via social media or insider reports, fans speculated extensively about their content, tone, and implications. Snippets, connections, and it was said that the hoopla around the alleged DNA findings gradually changed people's opinions. The combination of Jasmine's cautious approach, Mendeecees' efforts to remain composed, and the story's complexity, passion, and ambiguity secrecy, as well as Yandy's cautious demeanor. Fans immersed themselves in the story, interpreting every exchange, gesture, and post to infer meaning and outcomes. Sources said that a mix of ongoing public scrutiny and private events was causing the emotional landscape to shift continuously. Reports state that the alleged everyone had to go within and reevaluate their emotional priorities, loyalty, and trust as a result of the revelations. Yandy was reportedly searching for solutions in an attempt to reconcile her emotions with her desire for comprehension and lucidity. According to reports, Mendeecees was under a lot of pressure to balance responsibility and perception while responding in a kind and truthful manner. As the tale progressed, Jasmine's strategic prudence is said to have influenced the fans' perceptions and the emotional dynamics of the three via her subtle actions and considerate communication. Plot interaction among fans remained intricate and nuanced. Reaction videos, social media criticism, and discussion boards provided spaces for speculation, debate, and emotional engagement. The alleged DNA findings serve as a lens through which audiences see broader concerns about trust, relationships, and the consequences of public scrutiny. The interplay of individual emotions created a dynamic story that captivated attention and sparked discussion. Interacting with others and using the internet. As stress persisted, insiders claimed, moments of emotional honesty and openness became more frequent, though they were still challenging. Reportedly, Yandy's candid remarks sparked reflection and conversation, expressions of pain and a desire to know the truth. Despite their sometimes guardedness, Mendeecees' responses were described as efforts to properly manage complex emotions. She reportedly influenced the tone and cadence of these exchanges while carefully striking a balance between caution and visibility, adding nuance and complexity to the unfolding drama. The alleged DNA discoveries generated ongoing controversy and public attention regardless of their truthfulness. Through analysis, fans developed plots and discussed potential outcomes. Social media indicators, body language, and time frames. Insiders said that the emotional stakes were high and the internet is completely shocked by shocking DNA findings that were unexpected in the ongoing love and hip-hop issue. Yandy and Mendeecees Jasmine are presently the most discussed names, and fans are shocked by this most recent development. There are floating online allegations that DNA evidence has confirmed something that might upend their whole existence. But before we go any further, let's be clear. We're just talking about what people are saying online. Social media is already rife with speculations, despite the fact that nothing has been proven. What started out as gossip site whispers quickly turned into total chaos. Fan sites are examining every video, every old post, and every cryptic message in an effort to put together the reality. Jasmine made a comment, suggesting that the person who has been speaking the truth all along may now be exposed by the DNA evidence. Even the conversation was interrupted by Tasha K. On the other hand, Yandy and Mendeecees supporters are not giving up, contending that the pair merits tranquility since the public has already scrutinized them excessively. But the problem still exists. How will this change their connection if the statements are supported by the DNA results? Keep an eye out since this is just the beginning. The days that followed Tasha K's suggestion about the DNA discoveries were unlike anything the love and hip-hop world had ever seen. Social media was flooded, with followers searching for any clue or recommendation on what could have been disclosed. Jasmine's silence only made the situation worse, and Mendeecees' efforts to seem composed did nothing to quell the mayhem. According to a number of online reports, the DNA results confirmed a shocking truth that might change fans' opinions of Jasmine and seriously damage her relationship with Yandy and Mendeecees. There was always speculation. Frame by frame, we looked at every unclear remark made by Jasmine, every image posted by Mendeecees, and every comment on Yandy's most recent postings. A clue might be given by even the tiniest detail, like a sidelong look in a live video or an enigmatic emoji in a story. Reports state that Yandy's close friends noticed a change in her conduct almost immediately. Instead of posting her usual motivational posts on social media, she began using subtle, gloomy language that hinted at emotional strife. Immediately, fans began to draw parallels, speculating that she had somehow uncovered the truth behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Jasmine's admirers noticed that she had grown unusually silent, avoiding appearances in public and seldom communicating online. Although the reasons were unclear, her absence simply served to intensify rumors. In a never-ending scandal, bloggers claimed that she had been seen late at night visiting a medical facility. Mendy observes that they often carefully weighed their seemed more reticent than usual in both their private and public lives. His smile seemed staged in photographs, and his eyes were clouded with pressure. It's possible that he was attempting to shape the story before the purported DNA results were released. Insiders claim that by avoiding long conversations with friends and family, people weren't purchasing it. They examined each short clip for indications of fear or regret. Even bystanders may detect a shift in the atmosphere around his social media profiles. As the tension mounted, Tasha K returned to live streaming, providing additional evidence that the DNA evidence was more explosive than anybody had ever seen. Had expected. She hinted that there was more to Jasmine's truth than a secret liaison. Instead, it included choices with broad ramifications, timeliness, and responsibility. In a somber, even mournful tone, she described what she said were emotional encounters amongst the main characters. She said the conversation she observed was filled with confusion, sorrow, and fear of criticism. The remarks were eagerly anticipated by fans who saw them as evidence that the alleged scandal would indeed entail a pregnancy and paternity concerns. Stories spread like wildfire. One post claims that Jasmine said he informed a reliable friend about the alleged DNA results before anybody else did. There was speculation that this friend had given cryptic indications to other insiders. Comments on fan pages, motivated by a mixture of curiosity and outrage, often included phrases like "Mendeecees can't conceal anything" and "Yandy deserves the truth." There was constant public attention in the pair. While some advocated for transparency, others supported them, saying that the media and rumors often exaggerated occurrences. Insiders claim that Mendeecees and Yandy engaged in intense and emotional private conversations inside the home. Reports state that there were many tension, unresolved queries, and purposeful quiet. Although Yandy was known for her composure, close friends said she was struggling to strike a balance between her love for Mendeecees and the possibility of treachery. When they met in private, she too seemed clearly frightened. Despite Mendeecees' efforts to explain what had really happened, even the family apparently found it difficult to tell reality from fantasy. They were crying. Emotions were running high, and the usual comfort of their house seemed to give way to doubt. Speculation was not the only thing fans did. They went over previous episodes of Hip Hop and Love, remembering conversations between Jasmine and Mendeecees to look for any proof that might corroborate the latest accusations. Moments that had seemed routine were now scrutinized. A casual gaze, a short touch, or an off-camera chuckle had a new, possibly scandalous meaning. Timelines, side-by-side comparisons, and edited movies that suggested a stronger connection between Mendeecees and Jasmine than was previously believed were shared by social media critics. There was conflict outside of personal groups as well. Production personnel were reportedly caught off guard by the sudden increase of attention. According to reports, The show's creators were debating whether future programs should feature the latest rumors, balancing the need for drama to increase reality TV viewers against the ethical dilemma of exploiting personal issues. Insiders claim that the media and attempts to get remarks from the three were either turned down or greeted with vague promises, leaving fans wanting more. Due to the unpredictability, every little public appearance and online tale can end up in the news. Throughout all of this, Tasha K continued to make insinuations about further findings. She hinted that fans had never considered the layers of emotion, secrecy, and decision-making that the DNA evidence had shown. As she said that it was just a part of the narrative, viewers continued to speculate about what the real findings might reveal. Did it answer a paternity mystery? Was it an issue of time, misunderstanding, or malice? Social media was ablaze with debates, theories, and fans looking for hidden significance in even the most trivial remarks. Forecasts. Sources claim that Yandy's friends were quietly trying to protect her, offering support and helping her navigate the difficult world of public attention. One report claims that Yandy confided in a close friend, expressing anger and disappointment, along with a lack of confidence over how to address Mendeecees. Supporters immediately seized upon this narrative, seeing it as proof that the alleged scandal had significant personal consequences. But Jasmine's quiet and avoidant manner further strengthened the notion that more was happening behind the scenes than had been revealed to the public. The stakes were more intense than ever. Family members reportedly experienced a dilemma between loyalty and the want for the truth to be revealed. Some backed Mendeecees' position, believing that he had previously been severely chastised by rumors, while others agreed with Yandy, emphasizing loyalty and trust. Despite the fact that Tasha K's claims were unverified, they acted as a catalyst, transforming what would have been a private dispute into a significant public event. The complexity of the problem became clear as social media conversations continued. While fans debated timing, ethics, and reasons, the story's popularity persisted due to the widespread use of memes and response videos. When YouTube channels released assessments that deconstructed potential time periods and emotions exchanges, the internet transformed what should have been a private drama into a national conversation, with every post, theory, and comment escalating the already mounting tension. The human drama unfolding before them enthralled even the most casual viewers, and not only out of curiosity. The juxtaposition of supposedly private realities with public identities created an engrossing narrative. Mendeecees' quick grin or nod, Yandy's posts, and Jasmine's absence all acted as discussion starters. The mood was intense. The family was left divided as the stakes seemed to be increasing every hour. The focus shifted from alleged DNA findings to trust, loyalty, reputation, and the power of social media to escalate interpersonal conflict. Every post, message, and exchange was carefully examined. Tasha K's presence specifically fueled the flames due to her tendency to cause controversy, which made her viewpoint both anticipated and feared. It was reported that Mendeecees and Yandy's group had cautious and deliberate conversations. Friends and relatives made an effort to manage the situation properly, since they were aware that any error may result in additional public rumors. According to insiders, there was a significant emotional cost as both parties balanced their personal feelings with the demands of an inquiring public. The story had advanced to the point where little information were seen as important revelations. Each image, live stream, and admirers looked for hidden significance in the tale. Online forums became battlegrounds, with some people rooting for the couple and others questioning everything they did. The suspense was constant, and the plot continued to develop more complex every day. As the alleged DNA findings continued to dominate the debate, it became clear that the emotional ramifications went beyond those immediately engaged. Fans were participating, generating thoughts and articulating ideas as if they were part of the unfolding story. What began as a personal conflict grew into a huge tale that, owing to the internet, sparked attention and dominated conversations across a number of platforms. Even in the lack of proof, the alleged discoveries had an impact on conduct. Analysis of Yandy and Mendeecees' conversations in real time. Constant conjecture brought up by Jasmine's absence and Tasha K's remarks kept a lingering air of tension. Each little action, communication, and internet reaction contributed to a narrative that seemed intimate and combustible, keeping fans anticipating what might occur next. The mood was charged. Social media evolved into a platform and a microscope for the show. The family circle itself was under tremendous pressure to manage a situation made worse by gossip, as emotions ran high and the lines between perception and reality were blurred. Alleged proof and the pressure of public scrutiny, while supporters felt appalled, divided, and fixated. This rush of speculation, anxiety, and emotion primed the audience for what many considered to be a pivotal moment in the narrative. The alleged DNA findings, whether real or fake, acted as a catalyst, exposing flaws, sparking debates, and examining the connections between Yandy Mendeecees and Jasmine. The tale had developed into an enticing public demonstration of love, commitment, and intrigue that had beyond simple gossip. The effects of the alleged DNA releases continued to affect Jasmine, Mendeecees, and Yandy's life. Mornings and insiders said that the house had become tense, with unsolved issues permeating every discussion. According to friends, Yandy seemed reflective and often gazed out into space as if practicing a speech or reflecting on the past. The atmosphere was tense, and even cordial interactions seemed to be fraught with danger. But several eyewitnesses saw the tiredness in his movements and the strain behind his eyes. Despite Mendeecees' purported vacillations between defensiveness and efforts at composed justification, the public's fascination in the pair only developed as they resolved these private disputes. Fan sites and discussion threads were flooded with opinions, rumors, and conjecture. Some said that the DNA findings confirmed the long-rumored pregnancy, while others insisted that the situation had been overblown. The extensive dissemination of memes displaying extreme responses fueled the fan base's insatiable curiosity. Timings of those confidential meetings, as well as side-by-side comparisons of earlier conversations. Every social media post the three of them made became a potential clue, and rumors began to circulate. Insiders said that Mendeecees and Yandy's conversations had become more combative. Reports indicate that there were intense arguments punctuated by fleeting moments of reconciliation or self-admittance. Yandy reportedly publicly stated her sense of confusion and betrayal, raising questions that were hard to properly answer without full transparency. Reports state that Mendeecees struggled to decide whether to safeguard Yandy's privacy and soothe him, which resulted in a tense situation that appeared to worsen daily. The role of Jasmine in the play it was still unclear what was developing. Insiders said she was juggling a feeling of closure and fear, choosing to remain silent even though she knew the world was watching. Her sporadic public appearances and limited social media presence only contribute to the spread of rumors. In a handful of her movies, some spectators saw subtle signs of stress or introspection, which they took to mean that she was having trouble dealing with the consequences of the alleged DNA revelations. Each motion, glance, and omission felt significant, adding to the more complex narrative. Supporters began speculating about potential family involvement as well. Reports state that the relatives of Yandy and Mendeecees had both become entangled in the conflict, attempting to resolve conflicts, provide counsel, or just observe the dynamics as they evolved. Frequently, online comments emphasized supposed allegiances, asked who may be influencing whom, and looked at the extended family members' answers. Not only the immediate three seemed to be affected by the dispute. Admirers looked for clues or confirmation of rumors in the network of connections. Tasha K remained central to the narrative as the alleged truth dominating conversations. She reportedly hinted to other details, suggesting that the DNA findings were just one part of a larger web of decisions and secrets. During her live performances, fans eagerly analyzed and shared her cryptic statements on loyalty, responsibility, and the consequences of secret acts on various platforms. Conversations were revived each time Tasha K wrote a new remark, maintaining the story's advancement and increasing public attention. It seems that the emotional toll of the alleged admissions disrupted everyday home activity. Yandy is reportedly more reserved in her interactions, choosing her words well and managing her emotions. Mendes seemed to be nervous, often pausing before responding to inquiries or avoiding talks completely in spite of their greatest attempts to seem composed. The mood in the house was characterized as a mix of careful politeness and underlying uneasiness, and all parties were aware of the stakes, both private and public. It was evident to outside observers that the fan reactions were influencing the plot just as much as the main character's actions. As a response, online communities spoke about timing, reasons, and ethical concerns, while films and comments feeds examined past behavior and potential future consequences. Each and every video or post that conjectures ranging from potential reconciliation to irrevocable effects were generated by any of the three individuals' shared experiences. Fans developed a story that often matched the complexity of the alleged events themselves, proving that they were not only spectators. According to insiders, emotions sometimes erupted into brief but intense verbal altercations. When Mendeecees attempted to clarify, he was met with a mix of distrust and reluctant acceptance. Yandy, meanwhile, reportedly displayed both anger and hurt. These discussions were punctuated by quiet moments, reflective glances, and emotional pauses, which produced an atmosphere where every conversation was impacted by the alleged DNA findings' relevance. Regarding what was really spoken and how each person felt at those times, fans speculated endlessly. Social media monitors who only have access to leaks or tidbits via social media saw a shift in the followers' reactions to the situation. Discussion threads became more analytical as the days passed, with time periods, goal speculation, and body language interpretations becoming more prominent. Stage. There was a rush of debates, hypotheses, and responses to every little update from Mendeecees, Yandy, or Jasmine. In ways that went beyond simple celebrity gossip, the alleged DNA reveal had grown into a more thorough reflection on relationships, trust, and responsibility. Insiders claim that amid the continued private meetings, family members were attempting to mediate and provide guidance. Reports state that Yandy was searching for clarification and clarity to help her reconcile her conflicting feelings of love and disappointment. Mendeecees had the dual difficulties of preventing public misinformation and safeguarding private information. Despite the fact that every contact had the potential to have repercussions and the emotional stakes were rising. Whether it was an in-person conversation or a brief internet communication, fans were vigilant, interpreting little movements, facial expressions, and statements as either supporting or contradicting the allegations. The combination of personal vulnerability and public attention created a high-pressure environment that intensified the drama and held the attention of the audience. Insiders claim that Yandy Mendeecees and Jasmine's narrative was intricate and included aspects of emotional accountability, loyalty, trust, and public impression. Beyond mere curiosity, the engagement of fans affected interpretations and the perceived stakes. It was an intriguing and complex story, with a lot of emotional, relational, and societal elements focused around the alleged DNA revelation. There was still speculation as the days extended across many weeks. Observers noted that the emotional and social ramifications from the alleged discoveries continued to influence behavior, relationships, and public opinion. Mendeecees' efforts at composure, Jasmine's measured caution, and Yandy's cautious demeanor all combined to produce a narrative that fans discussed, debated, and examined constantly. Whether or not after the alleged DNA findings were ultimately confirmed, they sparked a drama that seemed to permeate both private and public life. The continuous commentary by Tasha K and the unwavering focus of admirers created a feedback cycle where each new event was analyzed, speculated about, and exaggerated. The drama brought about by the interaction of public emotions, emotional stakes, and familial ties was well publicized and quite personal. Each subtle gesture, circumspect statement, and quiet moment was a building block for a story that captivated the audience, generated conversation, and left their desire for a resolution. Yandy, Mendeecees, and Jasmine were under extreme strain. Insiders said the emotional landscape was rife with uncertainty, trust issues, and the challenge of striking a balance between private feelings and public scrutiny. Every day, the situation became increasingly dire, when new interpretations, analyses, and hypotheses emerged. The alleged DNA findings have become a spectacle on social media, influencing public opinion, fan involvement, and human connections, giving the tale a wide-ranging and immediate feel. As the alleged disclosures continue to dominate headlines and online debates, the stakes